Well, this is a serious story. Something is happening to the honeybees here in Ohio and around the country. They're disappearing and dying in record numbers. And as Channel 3's Michael Mara explains, if the bees vanish, so will much of what we eat.
Joe Blair is the largest beekeeper in Ohio. His business staggered by a bee mystery.
We're finding the hives empty like that, with no bees, no dead bees, no sign of any reason for them to have died or left.
It's called colony collapse disorder. Beekeepers in 27 states, including Ohio, have been reporting disappearing honeybees. In Northeast Ohio, a double whammy. Colonies are disappearing, but even more destroyed because of the nasty weather. Right now it is 41 degrees, and after a really difficult winter, millions of bees just didn't survive. Bob Hooker is president of the Lorain Beekeepers Association. His bees didn't vanish. They all starved to death. Today, he checked to see if his new bee colonies were still alive.
All of my hives that I had over winter had died.
Every bee?
Every one was dead, yeah.
Moving from flower to flower, the bees help produce $15 billion of seeds and crops every year. Everything from alfalfa and cattle feed to the pears in this orchard in southern Ohio. One new theory, electromagnetic noise from cell phones that confuses the bees so they lose their sense of direction.
It might be 3 or 4 or 5 different things intersecting and affecting the honeybees' health dramatically.
There's a lot of factors, there's a lot of theories, a lot of possibilities, but right now nobody has an answer.
Albert Einstein once predicted that if bees disappear, man will soon follow. In Oberlin, Michael Mara, Channel 3 News.
I didn't know we should care about bees so much. 30% of our food supply depends on bee pollination. No honeybees would mean no apples, cherries, carrots, celery, onions, and cucumbers, just to name a few crops that would be wiped.
This is BBC World. The main news so far this hour. Fighting is continuing between the Lebanese army and Islamist militants in northern Lebanon, a day after fierce fighting left 14 people dead. Germany is preparing for possible violence. Thousands are expected to protest at next week's G8 summit. It's a scientific mystery and a catastrophe for American farmers. Millions of bees are dying in hives across the United States, and nobody knows why. Researchers are calling it colony collapse disorder, and it's affecting billions of dollars worth of crops. Jeremy Cook has the story.
They are frontline workers in one of America's key industries. Western honeybees, introduced from Europe in 1622, now essential for crops from apples to almonds, from watermelons to blueberries. It's reckoned that 1 in 3 bites of food consumed in the USA depends on the honeybee. But now they are dying in their millions, and no one knows why. The scale of the problem is immense. This one blueberry farm in Maine covers some 10,000 acres, and there are millions of plants to be pollinated. All of it, of course, is totally dependent on the common honeybee, and the problems here are being replicated across the United States. And so people like Dave Hackenberg are facing a crisis. He's the hired gun of the bee world, trucking hives across the states to wherever their pollinating skills are needed. An essential service, but after losing 85% of his bees, he's struggling.
I've been keeping bees for 45 years.
Seen anything like this before?
Never seen anything like this before. I've been through the mites, I've been through diseases, I've been through 2 mites, all kinds of problems. But this is, to take out, a third of the beehives, pretty close to 30 to 35% of all the beehives in the United States, and even Canada. I mean, and other parts of the world as far as that goes. I mean, this is something's going wrong.
Something's going very wrong. And in the labs at Penn State University, they're conducting autopsies on dead bees as part of an intense and urgent search for an answer.
This swelling and this brown color, it should be nice and clear and white and thin like fishing line almost.
The marks of disease are everywhere, but the mystery, so far, unsolved. Out in the woods, they're tracking the decline of hives. Researchers watching colonies disappear before their eyes. They're calling it colony collapse disorder, or CCD.
I'm still hearing reports right now of colonies collapsing, which is very surprising because right now is the best time of year for bees. We have a lot of pollen, we have a lot of nutrition, and just like us, if we're healthy, even if we get a little bit sick, we're better than if things are bad.
One theory is that something is destroying the bees' immune systems, but it seems certain that unless CCD can be checked, U.S. agriculture, perhaps global agriculture faces a major crisis. Jeremy Cook, BBC News, Maine.
Insurgents are reported to have destroyed a key bridge in northern Iraq. Police sources say the insurgents used explosives to wipe out the Sahar Bridge near the town of Tuzla.
These are tough times in Australia's food bowl. The huge swath of land centered around the Murray-Darling River is the heart of the agriculture industry. It's been hit hard by the country's worst drought in a century.
If there's no rain, well, it's just a big black hole that we're looking into.
For long-suffering farmers, things may soon get much worse after a grim warning. Unless there is heavy and widespread rainfall in the next month, the government says irrigation water to farms in the area will be cut off to ensure the cities have water. Australia's Prime Minister says it's because the whole country is facing an unprecedentedly dangerous crisis.
We should all pray for rain because the situation for the farmers of Australia in the irrigation area of this country, in the Murray-Darling Basin, is critical, and we must all hope and pray there is rain.
Farmers worry the move will cripple their already devastated industry, everything from dairy farms to crops to the wine harvest. Effects of the drought are being felt across the board. It's expected to knock off as much as 1% of Australia's $789 billion economy. For farmers, it's taking a personal toll.
A lot of people in our industry at the moment are doing enormous hours on a weekly basis, and that's adding to the pressure, of course. So you've got the emotional pressure, the financial pressure, and then the sheer physical tiredness that comes with working long hours.
If the water is turned off, some say it will be the last straw, leaving them with no choice but to sell their land.
At the moment, it looks likely, the way the weather is. Yeah. Which is pretty sort of gut-wrenching and scary from my perspective.
Hoping for a break and wondering about their future on the farm. James McDonald, CNN, Hong Kong.
Our nation is in the worst time of drought that we have seen for generations. Our land is dry and thirsty. Hope seems scarce and our people are suffering. While the effects of the big dry hit the agricultural sector and our economy, it is our farmers and their families that are hurting the most. For many, suicide and depression are a very real part of everyday life. Would you please join us in prayer for our land and our farmers? Pray that rain will reach the drought-stricken areas. Pray that the desperate would find hope. And pray that the fearful would walk in peace. Pray for our nation's leaders, that they will have wisdom as they lead us through this time. We declare that God is sovereign, and our dependence is in Him alone. We humble ourselves, and we trust Him for comfort, for peace, and for direction through these troubled times.
Some go before their time, don't know why, but I'm learning to rely on the one who gave me life, the author of my life. Like a cry out in the wilderness to those who must remain. No compromise, never live for nothing less. Give it all for the glory of His name.
To practically help those who are suffering, would you contact Care Outreach today?
يا أيها الإنسان ما غرك بربك الكريم